us, right?
Yeah, yeah, of course. I always wanted a chance to do that.
So we are still looking out for the flight. Yeah.
Okay.
呢個幾時買啊？早啲買啊？
Huh? Hey, brother Terence, we may consider flying back, no? Which means that we have to take the Grab to KL. How long? I think 2 hours, right? Huh? Don't know.
Okay, it's 8:30. We let Terence kick off.
Thank you, Bertie. Skill2 and a very good evening, everyone. Welcome to MSBS Weekly Guided Meditation by Phra Goh. Today is the 25th of November 2025, and it will be the last class for this year. We'd like to extend a great welcome to all new viewers to this channel. We are continuing on the subject on the Brahmā Snat from Brahmā Jala Sutta from Digha Nikaya 1. Bhante will be leading the homage to the Buddha and taking 5 precepts for Buddhists. Now let's compose our mind, put our palms together and welcome Bhante. Over to you, Bhante.
Okay, thank you, Terence. So we start off with paying respects to the Buddha by bowing 3 times. First bow, second bow, third bow. Okay, then the opening chant, the homage. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. 3 refuges. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. And the 5 precepts. Pāṇātipada vēramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinādāna vēramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kāmesu micchācārā vēramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musāvādā vēramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Surameraya maccappamaddatthāna vēramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so good evening, everyone. So we're still in this discussion of the Brahmā Jala Sutta. Tonight is hopefully the last lesson and we can finish everything. So let's try to cover it. Okay, so probably is the last view or last 60 overview, right? So we are talking about the Nibbana here and now. So they're talking about the different jhanas. Some people believe doing jhanas itself will be Nibbana would be the end of the spiritual path. Whereas in Buddhism, jhanas is just a stepping stone, just to strengthen the mind. Okay, so I'll just read out point 62. Another says to him, "There is, my good man, that self of which you speak. I don't say that there's not, but it's not to that extent that one attains the highest here and now unbinding. Why is it that? Because precisely the mental concern with pleasure, there that's declared to be gross." Okay, next, so it's describing the third jhana has this pleasure. Okay, so but when this self, with the abandoning of pleasure and pain, as with the earlier disappearance of elation and distress, enters and remains in the fourth jhana, purity and equanimity and mindfulness, neither pleasure nor pain, it's to that extent that this self attains the highest here and now unbinding. This is how some proclaim the highest here and now unbinding of an existing being. Okay, so if a person were to just probably without any proper attending of any Buddhist courses, then they straight away read the sutta, then read, the eighth, the Noble Eightfold Path, the eighth one, right concentration is the four jhanas. So then they thought, this is the number 8, that's the last of the Eightfold Path already. So if a person attain the four jhanas, means that's it, that's Nibbana already. So some Buddhists also have this belief. So next slide. These monks are the contemplatives and Brahmins who are proponents of unbinding in the here and now, who proclaim the highest here and now unbinding of an existing being on 5 grounds. And whatever contemplatives and Brahmins who are proponents of unbinding in the here and now, who proclaim the highest here and now unbinding of an existing being, they all do so on one or another of these 5 grounds. There is nothing outside of this. Right? So probably the formless concentration doesn't have this pleasure and so on, so they don't call it, it's not included in this category, the unbinding of here and now. Okay, next. With regard to this, the Tathagata discerned that these 10 points, thus seized, thus grasped at, lead to such and such a destination, to such and such a state in the world beyond. Okay, so later we'll be discussing dependent origination. So we take note of this term, seize and grasp. Any viewpoint that you seize and grasp, it will lead to suffering, to the state in the world beyond. That the Tathagata discerns, and he discerns what is higher than that. So there's a path beyond this clinging. And yet discerning that, he does not grasp at it, and as he is not grasping at it, unbinding, nibbuti, is experienced right within. So this nibbuti or unbinding is the second set of the wheel of dependent origination, the cessation, causation. Knowing as they have come to be, the origination, ending allure and drawbacks of feelings, along with the escape from feelings, the Tathagata, monks through lack of clinging, sustenance, is released. So the key word here is lack of clinging. Then you can be released. Okay, next. These monks are the Dhammas, deep, hard to see, hard to realize, tranquil, refined, beyond the scope of conjecture. Right, so as one of the participants point out, it's hard to see, very hard to understand. So it's beyond conjecture. That means you cannot speculate, subtle, to be experienced by the wise. So you need wisdom to experience it, not just theoretically understand it. That the Tathagata proclaims, having directly known and realized them for himself, and that those who rightly speaking in praise of the Tathagata in line with what is factual would speak. Okay, so this is the we call it stock formula, or the chorus of this particular sutta that we kind of repeat over and over. Next. Okay, so this is like summary. These monks are the contemplatives and Brahmins who are theorists about the future, who hold views about the future, who approve of various beliefs with reference to the future on 44 grounds. So there are 44 belief systems regarding the future. And whatever contemplatives and Brahmins who are theorists about the future, who hold views about the future, who approve of various beliefs with reference to the future, they all do so on one or another of these 44 grounds. There is nothing outside of this. Okay, next. With regard to this, the Tathagata discerns that these standpoints thus sees, okay, so it's the same repetition, I'll just quickly read through. Thus grass lead to such and such a destination, to such and such state in the world beyond, that the Tathagata discerns, he discerns what is higher than that, and yet discerning that he does not grasp at it, and as he is not grasping at it, unbinding the Buddhi is experienced right within, knowing as they have come to be, the origination, ending, allure and drawbacks of feelings, along the escape from feelings, the Tathagata monk through lack of clinging sustenance is released. So the key word here is origination, and then the ending, so rising and passing. Okay, next. These monks are Dhammas, so the same formula, deep, hard to see, hard to realize, tranquil, refined, beyond the scope of conjecture, subtle, to be experienced by the wise, that the Tathagata proclaims, having directly known and realized them for himself, and that those who rightly speaking in praise of the Tathagata, in line with what is factual, would speak. Okay, next. Okay, then again, total summary. These monks are the contemplatives and Brahmins who are theorists about the past, theories about the future, theories about past and future, who hold views about the past and the future, approve of various beliefs with reference to the past and the future on 62 grounds. So total, we covered 62 belief systems. And whatever contemplatives and Brahmins who are theories about the past, theories about the future, theories about the past and future, who hold views about the past and the future, who approve of various beliefs with reference to the past and the future, they all do so on one or another of the 62 grounds. There is nothing outside of this. Okay, next. Okay, so this is the same formula, so I'll just skip this. Next slide. And the next slide, same stock formula. Okay, so we're going to talk about suffering and the dependent origination will of suffering. Why grasping to any viewpoint will lead to stress. There, where any of these contemplatives and Brahmins who are adherents of eternalism proclaim of eternal self and cosmos on 4 grounds, there is just an agitation and vacillation to be felt by those contemplatives and Brahmins who, not knowing, not seeing, are immersed in craving. So it's based on craving. So this craving here is the unwholesome craving that doesn't lead to detachment. So earlier on we were discussing about desire. So if any kind of desire, for example right effort, it's a kind of in a way kind of desire, but positive desire. So you, in our routine, we intentionally generate right thought, so that's a good kind of desire. But holding on to views, okay, whatever you hold on, whatever desire you generate, if it generates stress, that means something is wrong somewhere. Sometimes even wholesome intention, but then there's tension, there's stress, that means either you overdo it, or you sometimes we wish for something, then we overplay, replay, then that's overdoing it. Okay, next. There were any of those contemplatives and Brahmins who are partially eternalists and partially non-eternalists, so this is like a summary also, proclaim a partially eternal and partially non-eternal self and cosmos on 4 grounds, that is just an agitation and vacillation to be felt by those contemplatives and Brahmins who are not knowing, not seeing, are immersed in craving. So the Buddha said the root cause is still craving. Okay, next. So I won't read the whole thing. Those who proclaim the finiteness or infinities, no, also based on craving. Okay, next. And those who being asked questions resort to verbal contortions, ill wriggling, also based on craving. Okay, next. And those who are fortuitous arisings or proclaim whatever versions of fortuitous arising, also if they cling on to it, is also based on craving. Next. And all the views of the past, these 18 grounds, also emerge based on craving. Okay, next. And adherence, percipient after death, all those different views, all this of this percipient of self after death, also is based on craving. Okay, next. And also non-percipient after death, also is, if you cling to them, is also based on craving. Okay, next. And those who talk about percipient nor non-percipient after death, and neither percipient nor non-percipient, also based on craving. Next. And those who talk about annihilationists, and they cling to those views, also based on craving. Okay, next. And those, and we just earlier covered, those who believe in the unbinding here and now, if they believe the jhanas or the sensual sphere is the nibbana, then that is also based on craving, if they cling on to those views. Okay, next. Okay, so again, this is a summary. Next. Based on craving. So the summary of the 62 views, based on craving. Okay, next. Okay, so this is the dependent origination. There, where any of those contemplatives and Brahmans who are adherents of eternalism proclaim an eternal self and cosmos on 4 grounds, that comes from contact as a requisite condition. Okay, so if you, whatever belief system, let's say I believe the universe exists forever, it's a belief. So where this idea come from? Mind or contact? Mind or contact. So same with all the different belief systems. Whatever views you have comes from mind or contact. Okay, there where any of those contemplatives and Brahmans who are partially eternalists and partially non-eternalists all require contact as a requisite condition. So we quickly skip to the next slide. Okay, all the different views, the finiteness or the verbal ill-wriggling also come from contact. Okay, next. Okay, so this is the same summary. Fortuitous arising is those who are theories about the past, also based on contact of the mind or next. And the same thing, percipient of self, percipient of non-self after death also comes from contact. Next. Then the neither nor perception, annihilation also comes from contact. Next. And unbinding here and now also come from contact. Views of the future also come from contact. Okay, next. And theories about all the past, present, future, or the 62 belief systems in total come from contact. So this is the summary. Okay, next. So the Buddha said there's no other possibility that you cannot experience something without contact. So I'll just read through. There where any of those contemplatives and Brahmans who are adherents of eternalism proclaim an eternal self and cosmos on 4 grounds, that they will experience that other than through contact isn't possible. So everything in samsara needs to go through the 6th sense door contact. You cannot experience something new without this sense door contact. Any ideas, even ideas that suddenly pop up in your mind, very creative new ideas just pop up in the mind, is also part of mind door. Yeah, so you cannot escape through these sense spheres. Okay, next. So I'll just quickly browse. It's the same thing. Okay, next, all the different views. Next slide, next slide. Trying to say you cannot escape through contact. Okay, next. Next. All the different views, percipient, non-percipient, you cannot experience them without contact. Okay, next. Okay, so now the Buddha talked about dependent, co-arising, also the same thing. Then when any of those contemplatives and Brahmans who are adherents of eternalism proclaim an eternal self and cosmos on 4 grounds, where any of those contemplatives and Brahmans who are partially eternalists and partially non-eternalists proclaim a partially eternal and partially non-eternal self cosmos on 4 grounds. Okay, next. Okay, so all these are the views again, just quickly skip through. Next. Okay, all the different views. Next, next, next. Okay, next. Okay. So this is the dependent origination model. They'll experience that through repeated contact or at the 6 sense media. So the Buddha start off with the 6 sense media: your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. For them, from feeling as a requisite condition comes craving. So in this particular model, the Buddha never mentioned, or rather haven't mentioned yet, about ignorance, consciousness, mental formation. So straight away talk about the 6 sense media. So this is what we experience now. So actually, when we use our 6 sense media, for example, when we see something with our eyes, there's already the eye consciousness. So the consciousness link is there. The formation of the consciousness to kind of pay attention to the screen, so that is already mental formation. Why you suddenly can pay attention to hearing, and because it jumps from hearing to seeing, from seeing to hearing to thinking. So all this movement is actually mental formation. So it's all part of the previous few links. Okay, so we just talk about this 6 sense media. From them, feeling as a requisite condition comes craving. So when you have contact with something, there will be feeling, whether you find it pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Whatever you see right now, you like the design, you don't like the design, or whatever you hear, you like what you hear, you don't like what you hear. So that's all feelings, or you find it neutral. So these are feelings. And because we are not mindful, then we will react with craving. Any pleasant feeling, let's say we like what we see, then we react with greed. So that's one type of craving. Then anything we don't like, anything unpleasant, then we react with anger. We want to reject, want to get rid of. So we react with anger. So that's another type of craving. And if let's say we experience a neutral feeling, I don't find it pleasant or unpleasant, it's okay neutral, what? Then we'll react with, we call it delusion. So not reacting with greed and anger doesn't mean no craving, also is a craving. So let's say if a person meditates, very neutral, what? I have no greed, no anger, you just want to stay there forever. So it's a delusion. It's a delusion. Once you stop thinking of impermanence or generating right thought, you stop only, then because we crave that experience, we crave on that whatever experience you're doing. Okay, then from craving as a requisite condition comes clinging. So you hold on to that experience. From clinging, sustenance as a requisite condition comes becoming. So you become a certain personality. So let's say a person cling on to a certain view, For example, I believe that rebirth is real. Even though I haven't seen it for myself, I believe it's real. So, because I keep on repeating this idea, I believe it is real, I crave, I kind of push for this, and then I cling on to this idea that rebirth is real. So anything that try to shake me off this theory, shake me off this belief, I will not accept it, because I will cling to this idea. Then you become a rebirth believer. Can be eternalist, partial eternalist, whatever it is. So you become that particular subscriber to that faith. So we call this becoming. From becoming as a requisite condition comes birth. So you become not in birth. So then birth conditions, aging and death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, distress. So once you cling on to a certain belief, then whenever that belief is shaken, then you feel upset. You feel all the ups and downs. So all these are the suffering, sorrow, lamentation, pain, birth, aging, sickness and death of that belief. So the common example I give, or something simpler to understand, would be, let's say if you have eye contact with, for example, with me now, then probably your role is a student or an audience. Agree? So through the eye contact, the eye sense media, then you have certain maybe expectation, right? Certain craving, you want to learn something. And then because you're still logging on to this lesson, you didn't log off straight away, you still expect something. We call this a kind of clinging. And then because of this, then you become a audience, you become a student. So we call this becoming. Then as a student have student suffering, so you hear me nagging, right? So you have student suffering, birth, aging, sickness and death of a student. So this is one example. But let's say we change contact. Now you look at other fellow members. Don't look at me, look at other fellow members. Then you become a different person. You no longer become a student or audience. Maybe if you think of your friend or look at your friend, either through your eye contact or through your mind-door contact, then you become a friend. If you think of your parents, then you become a child. If you think of a child, then you become a parent, right? So all these are based on different contact. You add on a certain expectation, then you become that personality. Can understand? No problem. So I move on. Okay, next. But when a monk discerns the origination, ending, allure, drawbacks of, and escape from the six sense media, he discerns what is higher than all of this. So you can escape these six sense media. So the keyword is origination, ending. So we talk about rising and passing. And once a person keeps observing rising, passing, then you find that there's no more allure, nothing interesting anymore. You won't be too drawn into or invested into clinging to them. You find that all this is suffering, and you start to let go of clinging. Okay, next. Okay, so this is more hopefully getting closer to the end. Any contemplatives and Brahmins or theories about the past, theories about the future, theories of the past and the future, who hold views about the past and the future, who approve of various beliefs with reference to the past and the future, all come under this net with its 62 interstices. So you can have different combination of the 62, then you might have more than 62. When emerging, they emerge trapped here. When emerging, they emerge encompassed here under this net. So this net is within samsara. Okay, next. Just as if a deaf fisherman or fisherman's apprentice were to cover a small body of water with a fine meshed net, the thought would occur to him, any sizable creature in this body of water all come under this net. When emerging, they emerge trapped here. When emerging, they emerge encompassed here under this net. So basically, whatever belief system we have is all still part of the 5 clinging aggregates. It's part of samsara. Okay, next. In this same way, monks, any contemplatives and Brahmans who are theories about the past, theories about the future, so repetition, all the different views, when emerge, trapped here, when emerging, they emerge encompassed under this net. Okay, next. The body of the Tathagata stands with the cord binding it to becoming cut through. As long as his body remains, human beings and devas will see him. But with the breakup of this body and the depletion of life, human beings and devas will see him no more. Just as with the cutting of the stalk of a bunch of mangoes, all the mangoes connected to the stalk will follow with it. So the Buddha talks about his introduction of how to escape from this net. That's why we are grateful to the Buddha, the teacher. Can you go to the previous slide? Okay, sorry, the next slide, sorry. Okay, next slide. Okay, in the same way, the body of the Tathagata stands with the cord binding it to becoming cut through. As long as his body remains, human beings and devas will see him. But with the breakup of the body and depletion of life, human beings and devas will see him no more. Alright, so the Buddha talks about his physical body. But if a person were to practice the Dhamma, then you see the Buddha in terms of practice, in terms of experience. So that's what the Buddha wants, actually. Okay, next. When this was said, Venerable Ananda said to the Blessed One, "It's amazing, Lord, it's astounding. What is the name of this Dhamma discourse?" Alright, so this is going to conclude very soon. Thus, Ananda, remember this as the net of meaning, or the net of what is profitable, the net of Dhamma, the Brahmā net, the net of views, the unexcelled victory in battle. So many names. That is what the Blessed One said. Gratified, the monks delighted in the Blessed One's words, and as this explanation was being spoken, the 10,000-fold cosmos shook. So the entire devas also kind of like listening into his sermon, and kind of give a standing ovation or whatever. Right? So have this shaking. Okay, next. Okay, so this is like a chart. Talks about all the views in summary. So the wrong views is as long as you cling to them, then it's considered wrong. If we don't cling to them, it's part of conventional language usage. Part of conventional language usage. So I have to make this clear. As long as you cling to any view, then it's wrong view. Okay, so views about the past, 18. Views about the future, 44. So total, you have 62. So for those who you cannot understand what I've been reading earlier, because the paragraph too wordy, this is the kind of the chart, flow chart format. Okay, next. And in the 18 views, so these are all the list of the 18 views. So you end up now 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 2, then you have 18 views about the past. So you have the eternalists, 4 views, partial eternalists, 4 views, finite, infinite universe beliefs, 4 views, endless equivocation, 4 views, spontaneous origination, 2 views. So total 18 views about the past. Okay, next. Okay, then about the future, you have to pardon the letters a bit small because there's 44 views. So percipient of afterlife, 16 views. non-percipient afterlife, 8 views, naive perception, non-perception afterlife, 8 views, annihilationism, 7 views, the here and now nibbana, this life, 5 views, so total 44. So 44 plus the 18, you have the 62 in total. Okay, next. Okay, so that's the end of the theoretical sharing. So I've covered everything tonight, or tonight rather is the last lesson for the year. Any questions on the ground, or any suggestions for future topics? Susan has suggested dependent origination. Who thinks you still need further explanation on dependent origination? Or any questions?
Monday, I agree with Susan also. Explain more on the origin.
Okay.
Dependent origination.
Can. So next year you will cover on dependent origination. Okay, happy or something?
Ajahn, I have question regarding the one you said, the parents see as a kid and the kid see as a parent.
Okay.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so if you are thinking of your parents, then your role is a child. Agree?
So if you are thinking as a parent, the role is a child. Oh, I see. So it's the role.
Yeah, your role if you think of them. Yeah.
It's like, because I know like there are some quotes say like monkey see, monkey do. Something like we see as a human being only, not as an adult like kind of parents. So from that kind of point of view, can we explore more like because we know like the behavior of parents mostly can affect the child as well. Like there are some books they write about child behavior equals to adult behaviors. So for example, like kind of children when they start down, normally is the adult behavior, which is they act stoic. And like if children run away from you, it's also actually equally to adults also avoid confrontation. Means that there should have a communication between the kids and the adult, but because the behavior reflects each other, so they avoid confrontation. So that's why I was thinking like when Bante talk about the role when we see in the religion, of course we see like everyone has their role to see, but in the broader context, parents also human being. So if we see as human being only, so like they can make error. You go what I mean?
Yeah, so you're talking more on childhood development and influence.
No, I was talking about like the perspective that maybe in the religion they see children and adults is like the rule, which is parents, and because the strata is parents, the higher status is parents, and kids because of the kids rule. But let's say some people they have perceived the few as a human being, like they see everyone as human being, not like parents or kids or something like that. So how do you define this? Like is the role things make people differentiate things like separation, like kind of have some kind of I'm more superior than you, you have to be obedient, something like that?
Okay, so yeah, that's a bit similar to what we are going to do in our meditation routine. So that's why in our so-called meditation practice, we don't like visualize any particular person. Because once we think of particular person, then there will be a certain becoming. We become a friend or a child or a parent or a worker or a boss to that individual that we visualize. Yeah, so we take a step back and we treat all beings as the four elements. So like in your case, if we treat all beings as humans or all humans equally, it's a temporary shift in perception. So it will probably unlock, I would say, a new state of mind, or some people say a new type of consciousness. But when we start to work with people, we need to go back down to the conventional level. You still need to treat your parents a certain manner. You need to treat your workers in a different manner. You need to treat your, maybe if you have children, for those who have children, you need to treat your children in a different manner.
What about like the clinging? Because I know like the generation of baby boomers, something like more into the conventional thinking system, like patriarchic system, like elders teaching system as well. They really not honors. I mean, like they really take highly of the parents, elders, which is good. Like I mean, like to respect them is really great teachings. But what I mean is like sometimes the clinging of the few that are out of the context, like kind of fully obedience. So it disrupts the kids in many ways, and nobody really going to speak because it's going to offend the elders, and it's very taboo in some of the country to speak this. So how do you see this, Ajahn?
Interestingly, obedience is part of the blessing in the Mangala Sutta. It's a virtue, like if you apply it correctly. In the right context, obedience is a good thing.
I understand Ajahn said this because there are many cases like in the Chinese cultures, they teach about teacher kui, and that's kind of like the more you pay respect of your parents, the more you're gonna have a successful life, something like that. And it's true, we can see from many children they have a successful life, like they have inherited so many money, and then like they got supportive of the money behind the back. But some of the kids that don't have this kind of prestige or the privilege of having a lot, like in the dysfunctional family, they being like thrown away by this kind of clinging few that they are unworthy and not useful in the society because they rebel, like they being kind of the problem kids. So it's a bit kind of unfair because not all is perfect in the world. Some have this kind of environment, some don't have. So with this clinging, Bante, how do the baby boomer generation not to cling that much? Because the more they clinging, the more some of the children that are especially in this economy right now, very stressful. They want to run away. Like they just doesn't want to come back to the home to see the parents. Or some of them like they prefer, go far away and then doesn't want to talk to the parents. And it happened in so many places already, like in the country, in like booming in so many generations, which is the baby boomer. So how do you see this, Bante?
Yeah, so if let's say a child's family is facing some maybe crisis, can be domestic violence or whatever kind of problem, and the child wants to get away from the family for a while, I think it's important to mix around with a good company. If let's say the parents cannot influence the child in a positive manner, and it really depends on the, I would say, karma or luck of the child, what kind of people they end up with. So if they meet up with very supportive friends or caretakers who are influencing them in positive values, then that would be a good start lah.
Yeah, I think of course so many parents worry about the kids going into the wrong society or wrong communities. But at the same time, sometimes they too clinging, so the children also kind of destructive and suicidal because of their parents doing. So that's why there must have a line between this thing, like the teaching about how to draw the line, the personal boundaries, everything. Isn't it, Bante?
Yeah, I think it's a lot has to do with, there's a correlation with mental wellness and moral virtue. Yeah, so this one is not really talked about in Western psychology. So if a person is virtuous, they have lots of, I would say, moral character, then they will be more resilient also, actually.
More resilient. What is the meaning resilient, Bante?
Resilient means emotionally, I would say, stronger. They can pull through the tide. They will make the right choices when facing crises and not cut corners. Will not take shortcut or take the wrong route, make wrong decisions.
Can sorry, I hope it's not offending, but I just want to counterfeit this thing. Like, of course, we know everyone's intention is to make the children mentally strong, prepare them in the world that are not naive. But I mean, like, there are many stories about successful people that because the parents doing, they become successful, but the inner side of them actually, they are very, very failure. Like, there are so many trauma involved, there are so many things that are not resolved. So in the context of the monetized money, they got it in the world, but the inner side, they actually have very samsara inside. That's why even though Bante said like it to train them mentally strong, in my process of living things, like you can see like they call such as growing. Some people claim the feel of growing as a radical thing, Bante. It has to be hardcore, has to be hardship. The baby boomer generation is very hardship. They doing so many like kind of crisis, everything, but they survive. So they expect the next generation to have this kind of mentally strong, but they didn't see the era changing, the food changing, instant food many, and I think every factors also contribute to the next generation that they cannot keep up with previous generation that are mentally strong, because the previous generation, they have so many privilege before, like they have a very good air, no pollution, no so much disaster. But the next generation, they have more climate change, there are more AI coming, so much destruction, so much bad things outside, criminals, everything. That's why when you said mentally strong, I don't really agree with that kind of hardship that they have to go through again because of the suffering of the elders generation. So what do you think of this, Bante?
Yeah, there will be suffering, like in the older generation will also experience like World War and all those kind of stuff. So in any case, what the main concern, what I was mentioning about character building, for example, this instant gratification versus the long-term gratification. So like what you mentioned in the new generation, everybody gets what they want instantly. They order something, they get immediately. So there's a lack of development of patience. So if a person develops patience, or maybe in the older days they are more patient, then when they face crises, it's easier to manage because they have that character. They have that virtue of patience.
Can I say counterfeit about this thing, Bante?
Mm.
Because the way people cleaning the field about things that Bante said, because everything can get so instantly, is it really because of the fault of the children or the system, Bante? Because the environment trained them to be like that. It's not the kids' behavior that wants to be like
I
that.
think a lot requires mentor guidance, can be a parental guidance or a teacher's guidance, somebody to teach them certain values when handling modern technology.
Okay, that means for this kind of so-called the environment that induce the system is actually have to have the mentors and the guidance.
Yes, need guidance, yes. Saying you come to Dhamma class also, no? The Dhamma teacher gives certain teachings and guidance. If not, everybody can just study on their own and become Buddha on your own already.
Yeah, I heard a lot about people want to be like the Buddha ways, like they want to train themselves. Actually, of course, they need to meet teachers to guide them. But in this era, I think meeting teachers also very expensive, Bante. So and also like it's good that we have a Zoom and everything, so we can connect from far away. Otherwise, they have to travel so far away as well. So this thing can be seen as a positive thing, but there are some lack of of course, like this kind of zooming, also lack of kind of connection, like the existence, the presence, Bante. Isn't it?
Yes.
So another question about the Arahan, Bante. Or can I offer someone else if they want to asking? Otherwise, I asking too much. Sorry.
Yeah, nobody's asking. You can continue.
Okay. For it's regarding about the Arahan thing, because I think in the Ajahn Buddha or somewhere in the Flores tradition, I have seen the quotes about even the desire become Arahan is also tanha, but they make it the desire as a wholesome, like kind of a wholesome craving.
Oh yeah, we talked about this earlier. So the positive desire, we call it chanda, not tanha. Yeah? Negative desire, we call it tanha, which is the cause of suffering. Positive kind of desire, which is can constitute part of the right effort, then we call it chanda.
So, for this thing, like how some of the practitioners, they know that they clinging to the goal or they are not. Like what the line between that?
Okay, so if you have to check, if let's say similar to the series of suttas we've been discussing, if greed and anger increase, then something is wrong.
Greed and anger increase, something wrong. So
if greed and anger reduce along the way when you practice, you can make an aspiration, you want to be enlightened, arahant, bodhisattva, Buddha, whatever it is. But the more you practice, if you become more compassionate, more your greed and anger reduce, then it means you're on the right path.
Greed, anger, but if in the reality of life, sometimes the sutta said it's like more theoretical, but if you apply into the practical field, it's not really can use the theoretical way. That's why there are many books teaching how to not get manipulated or something like that, because there are so many people in the world because they are having so many tanha desire. They like to manipulate others. For example, the one you giving me the example, which is hypnotherapy that using for criminal things. Remember, Ajahn?
Hypnotherapy.
Yeah, hypnotize people using for criminal things.
That must be quite long ago. I have no idea when I said it.
Oh yeah. Because last time I asked about people using hypnotize others to stealing.
Mhm.
Remember the example of that?
Can you give the example again?
I mean, last time we talked about some people doing criminal things by hypnotize others.
Mm-hmm.
So what my question is, like this kind of you see, like this kind of example, like there are some people want to go therapy and they doing the hypnotherapy, but the intention behind that, like are not wholesome. So those person that going into the hypnotherapy actually end up induce their negative thinking way more, even more towards some people. It's not like getting healing or getting better. So
So whatever treatment, be it standard treatment or hypnotherapy, if the intention behind is unethical, then it's generating bad karma. Yeah?
or generating the karma. Oh, I see. Okay. Ajahn, thank you. Thank you for
Okay, all right. Any other questions? Okay, if not, then we go for a 5-minute break. Then we come back for this guided meditation. Okay, let's see who else has returned. Right, while waiting for the rest to come back from their break, anyone here has any questions? Okay, I presume the rest are back. Okay, so we can start the guided meditation. We mute the mic to prevent the feedback. And we're going to find a comfortable sitting posture. Make sure your back is upright. And the rest of the body relaxed. Okay, and we are going to start off with feeling the 4 element sensations. So the 4 elements are the earth, fire, wind, water elements. So any hard and soft sensations are the earth element, and fire would be the hot and cold sensations. Wind element represents any kind of movement, fast, slow movements, and the water element represents any moist or dry sensations. So in this routine, there's no need to control or force the elements to appear. We let it appear naturally by themselves. And when they appear by themselves, and if we do nothing about it, we will most probably react with greed or anger with the sensation. If it's pleasant, then we have greed. If it's painful, then we react with anger. So we need to intentionally wish it well and happy. So that's part of the right effort. Any contact appear, any sensation appear, wish it well and happy. New sensation appear, wish it well and happy. Okay, we find the mind relatively settled down. Then that would be our neutral baseline emotion. and without any jhanic concentration. So we are now going to think of impermanence. So whatever sensation appear, we just mentally recite, rising and passing. So if there's real detachment from these sensations and feelings, then one of the symptoms will be some Dhamma joy will appear for a while. So it's an indicator you're on the right track, and regardless of what you experience, keep on thinking of rising and passing. You need a reference point of unclinging versus clinging. So any idea that appear, if you chase after it, then this peace will be gone, and it will be replaced by stress and tension. And unclinging would mean coming back to this peace, or even deeper peace. So you want to experience this unclinging, you want to be this phenomenon to be seen by the wise, then you need to first experience what is this detachment. Okay, and once we have some detachment, then we're going to proceed on with the boundless loving kindness, and we're going to wish may all beings in all directions well and happy, above, below, and all across all directions. And in that enlarged area of of attention. We still perceive all beings as the four elements. No need to visualize how they look like. And we are going to wish, may all beings be well and happy. Anytime any element appear, any sensation appear, then we start to wish, may all beings be well and happy. Okay, so this combination of earlier on the insight plus this loving kindness may lead one to kind of equanimity, which is the indicator for the fourth level of concentration. So you get a neutral but refreshing kind of feeling. And regardless of what you experience, keep on wishing, may all beings be well and happy. Okay, then we switch to the second sublime state, which is compassion. And we're going to wish, may all beings be free from suffering. Using the same four elements, any sensation appear, they're all subject to clinging and suffering. So you want to wish all beings free from suffering. No need to imagine any story. Once you imagine a story, then that's becoming and suffering. Okay, so the combination of the insight from earlier and this compassion now may lead one to another type of calm experience, not the equanimity from previously. So this time around you should feel more blank compared to the equanimity from before. So we call that the perception of space. And regardless of what you experience, keep on wishing may all beings be free from suffering. So the detachment process is keep on generating the right thought. Once you stop only, then you cling to that state. Compassion is part of reflecting on drawbacks of all formations. You want to be free from suffering, and first you need to know that all these formations are kind of creating suffering. And we move on to the third sublime state, which is appreciative joy. And we're going to rejoice with all beings. Again, no need to imagine any scenario or story. Every moment, every sensation appear, then all beings will gain a new experience. So we can rejoice in that. Any sensation appear, rejoice with all beings. Sensation appear, rejoice with all beings. So we call this appreciative joy. So we appreciate moment to moment, every fleeting moment. Appreciate fleeting moment, appreciate. Okay, and the mind is more settled down, and this appreciative joy, combined with the insight from earlier, will produce a different peaceful experience. not as blank as the previous one. In fact, this one should feel the opposite, a sense of fullness. So that fullness, in a way, is a type of consciousness. So they call it perception of infinite consciousness. And regardless of what you experience, keep on rejoicing moment to moment. And the last sublime state, we call it equanimity. We are going to use the concept of karma. All beings are subject to karma. We reap what we sow. We are the owners of our karma, head to our karma. And this routine, no need to imagine in the past what have I done before. We just use the here and now evidence. Any sensation appearing, that's karma's ripening. Every moment karma's ripening, karma's ripening, karma's ripening. Yeah? And before we conclude the session, same gentle reminder in all activities, whether you're standing, sitting, walking or lying down, you can be mindful of the sublime states or mindful of impermanence. And with that, we can gently open our eyes, formally end the session, and formally generate right thought. Okay, any final questions? No issues, no problems. Okay, then we proceed on to the concluding chant. Anumodana, dedicating merits. Akasata ca Bhumata Devanaga Mahitika Punyang tang anumoditva Chirang rakantu loka sasanang Etavata ca amhehi Sampadang punya sampadang Sabe deva sabe bhuta sabe sata anumodantu Sabba sampati siddhya It is on dedication of marriage to departed. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Aspiration. Imina punya kamena mame bala samagamo. Satang samagamo hotu yavani bana patiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, bow to the Buddha 3 times. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. Okay, that's the end. Any announcement, Terence? So see you all next year.
The first lesson will be Zoom only, no Facebook.
Yeah, the first week of January, the first Tuesday would be non-live stream, so it's just Zoom only. Okay, good night.
Thank you, Bante.
All right.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night. Good night.
Bye.
Thanks.